We are gearing up for summer, and every kid is looking forward to a few months of fun in the sun before school starts, but safety is always the #1 concern. So here with us today is Dr. Jessica Kuhn. Welcome.
Thank you.
So obviously, it is very important to make sure that when we're doing activities with the kids, they're safe. So are there some things we should know about in terms of pool or water safety, since I know that's a big pastime during the summer?
Yeah, so all kids like to be in the water, it seems like, and so the biggest thing in the summertime is constant supervision if there's water around. So regardless of the age, accidents can happen, and there's always safety issue with water. So constant supervision around the pool, teaching your kids how to swim is important, and then if you have a pool in your yard, having it covered or dumping it out when you're done playing with it if it's a small pool for kids.
Or I know a lot of people have fences around their pools now.
Yes.
Just to be extra secure.
Yes, and to have that fence locked if you're not utilizing it or if you're not able to supervise.
And one thing people don't think about always as well, you know, you can be supervising your own kids. There may be kids in the neighborhood who wander over and they see a pool and it's a hot day, and so just kind of keep your eye out, make sure that you're checking for things like that. But another part of this as well is sun protection, because if we're all outdoors, we want to make sure we're keeping our skin safe. What should we look for in terms of sun protection?
So what I like to tell my families is the most important thing is something that you'll use and the kids will let you put on them. So we all know that it can be a battle to put lotions on our kids or sprays on the kids as they want to run outside and play. So reapplication is also important. So put the sunscreen on the kids if they've been in the water or they're sweating or they've been playing outside for a couple hours, reapply that sunscreen. So whatever they'll let you put on them, and then reapplication for sunscreen.
Speaking of sprays, we are in the part of the country that is blessed with a ton of mosquitoes. So we want to make sure we have bug protection as well. And I assume it's kind of along the same lines, right? Like find something you can use that they won't be resistant toward.
Right. And so for kids, there are children's bug sprays and sunscreens. They tend to have less chemicals and they're a little bit more gentle on the skin. So that's usually what I suggest. But also important, wash their skin after you put it on. So at night, we tend to wash our kids on a regular basis, but for sure when they're having sunscreen or bug spray, wash it off their skin at nighttime.
That's absolutely fair. And I know probably the smell as well. So getting those more gentle, kid-friendly ones don't have as stringent of a smell, which is nice.
Yeah.
Okay, one more thing that kids do during the summer is biking. We love going on bike rides as families, and sometimes the kids run around out as well. But it's important that we take that extra minute and put on our safety pieces, correct?
Yes. So bike helmets, we know that head injuries and brain injuries are one of the biggest accidents from biking. So having kids wear helmets, and at all ages. So often when kids come in my office, they say, but I don't need to wear a helmet, I can ride my bike. And I say, yeah, you can, but not everybody can ride their bike, and someone may run into you. So make sure you have helmets on your kids, and they should be properly fitting. So often you see kids with their helmets way up above their head.
Over their eyes.
Or over their eyes. It's not going to work if you get in an accident, so make sure it's fitting appropriately.
And elbow pads and knee pads, if they're the age, especially when you are training them to go without training wheels.
Right.
That is a very good time for that. And in general outdoor safety, we should be pretty much just aware of our environment, correct? Like watch what's around you, especially the kids. I know I have 4, so sometimes we have one that will just stray from the group, and you have to kind of rein them in. So what is your experience with families and outdoor safety?
So one of the biggest things I tell families is supervision when they're younger and they're outside, but also talk to them about street safety at every age. So when they come in and they're even 15, I say, I know you learned this when you were 4, but stop before you cross the street. Take the time to look for vehicles, because they get in a rush and they want to run across the street. Or they're with a group of friends and everybody goes. So really stop, take your time to look, and remind kids about street safety, remind them about neighborhood safety. So I don't teach stranger danger because it's scary to kids, but what I teach them is don't ever go with anybody you don't know, but don't go with anyone, even if you know them, unless you talk to mom or dad first.
And one thing we've implemented in our home actually is a code. So if somebody wants to pick up our kids from school, if somebody wants to, pull the kids out of the yard and they're talking, they know that they have to ask, well, what's the code? And their dad and I have given them a specific code, and unless they hear that, it doesn't matter if it's grandma and grandpa, aunt or uncle, friends, they are not allowed to go without the code. In fact, if they ask what the code is and they get the wrong one, run in the opposite direction.
Right. Yes.
So
So
yeah.
I teach kids that too. That's it's a great tool to use, because how else can you notify your kids if something comes up and you can't make it to pick them up? The code word is perfect.
Yeah.
And you said a big important thing too. Even if it's grandma and grandpa, or even if it's your aunt and uncle, make sure mom and dad know where you're going. Even if they say, I already talked to mom, you say, well, I have to go and just tell mom I'm leaving before I go. Because parents worry if we don't know where our kids are at.
Right, and it might be something that is totally, somebody's being nice, they're just trying to be helpful, and say grandma's in town and she wants to pick up the kids from school, and it's not a big deal. But if grandma doesn't properly communicate that to mom, and mom shows up and the kids aren't there, that can be really scary
very
for
scary.
parents. That's why, we do the code thing. There's other ways to do it. Talk to the parents. Just generally, we want to be aware of our surroundings and try to offer solutions for kids that aren't scary.
Right.
So fantastic. So you're at IMA Healthcare, and we've got locations nearby, right?
Yes, so we're located on the corner of 45th Street and 32nd Avenue in Fargo, just across from Mexican Village. And so very easy access, and we see patients Monday through Friday. And we do have walk-in care available for both adults and pediatrics.
Oh, perfect. All right, Jessica, thank you so much for joining us. I think this is a great way to kind of set off summer. Pretend that you didn't hear the S word earlier this morning, because it's going to be a beautiful year. So thank you again for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
All right, well, stay with us. Coming up, we have a little bit more about summer. It's around the corner, and we have home design expert Kelly Edwards from Summer Home Essentials to talk all things heat.